Hello students, and welcome to the next lesson in our AS Level Psychology course. Today we're going to be looking at minority influence. What is a minority influence? A minority influence takes place when a smaller group makes a larger majority conform to their view. This happens via internalization. The behavioral styles of a minority influences a majority is going to determine how successful the internalization is. Internalization is a type of conformity when people are going to change their behavior in order to fit that of a majority view, and while they do so, they're going to change the way they think permanently in order to believe that what they're conforming to is the very best option. The first of which is consistency. You have to remain consistent, and it refers to how committed a minority group is to their position over time and maintains their belief. If a group is more consistent, they're more likely to influence a larger group in order to accept their minority. If there's an inconsistency, the group can be exploited, which is going to create doubt, and as a result, less conformity is going to take place. So a minority influence must be consistent whenever they're trying to attract the attention of a majority to conform to them in order to increase levels of conformity. The next is confidence. The more confident a minority is in their beliefs, the less likely they're going to be to dissipate in the eyes of a majority. This gives them the attention and the respect, which is going to lead to more of a chance for them to conform. Persuasiveness. If a minority is persuasive in what they do, obviously it's going to be more likely for them to attract others in its belief, because the more persuasive you're going to be, the more people are going to be enticed into wanting to actually do whatever you're doing in your social minority. Also, social minorities that are trying to bring about social change must be non-selfish. If a minority view can show that what they're doing is actually not selfish, people are going to feel that what they're changing and conforming to is for a greater good, nothing personal or personal benefits. So more people will therefore conform because they think the minority influence is more beneficial than that of the majority influence. Now we're going to look at Moscovici's blue or green study. Now this is a study which is going to look at the ideas of a minority influence. Moscovici was a psychologist who tested to see how participants would conform to a minority influence. He had 6 participants and 2 confederates which were part of this group of 6 participants that were going to take part by showing them a number of slides which were of different shades of green and blue. In these slides, some of them were clearly green, and the confederates consistently gave the wrong answer to say that they were blue. Now, let me highlight the word consistently, because as we know, a minority influence, in order to be successful, must be consistent, because as a result, conformity levels are going to decrease if you are inconsistent, because that's going to allow you to exploit the inconsistency and create doubt. The participants would eventually agree after contemplating their initial answer to that of the minority influence, the more consistent this group would be when giving their opinions. A third of all participants agreed with the minority at least once, which isn't that substantial. Only 1 in 3 people are actually going to agree with a minority, but seeing as this is actually a task on how a slide is actually going to be really, really green or really, really blue, it's shocking that 33% of people actually would take away their initial answer of something which is clearly correct to something which is wrong, similar to that of Ash's line study. So, how did it actually happen? Well, we have a number of slides. It ranges from darker blue to maybe a paler blue to a green, a lighter green, and then a very light green. Now, these are the slides which were shown to all of the participants, and the participants would be asked what colour they were. Now, the social influence would start to say that these slides were of different colours. The slide in the middle, they started to say was blue, which you could probably fall for it, seeing as it's quite similar to the first shade that it's put up against on its right. However, it is quite similar to its shade that it's put up against on its left as well. So the more consistent ways in which the confederates would then say, yep, that's blue, led people to believe that the next one may be blue because it's quite a similar shade to the blue slide they're seeing in the middle. And then as a result, it reached the point to which 1 in every 3 participants agreed that the slides were blue. And you can probably see this happening. The more you try and convince yourself that the middle slide is blue, it does actually look like it could be of a tint of perhaps Oxford blue or a much more kind of turquoise version of blue. Now we're going to evaluate Moscovici's study. The study lacked mundane realism, and as we know, because it lacked mundane realism, the people that are taking place in this experiment aren't really going to give accurate results if this is something which doesn't really happen most of the time. Also, the participants were asked to give objective answers. They may have been less influenced by the majority, or in this case the minority of people, the two Confederates that were trying to influence them, if they were given something subjective to comment on. For example, their opinion on politics. If it was a task in which they were given their opinion on politics, because it's subjective and close to their heart, they're less likely to then conform to the minority view. Also, there was a very small sample size, which means that it's hard to really apply to the general population. Here are some questions on social minority influences and Moscovici's study. Have a go at answering these on another sheet of paper by pausing the video, and then hit play for whenever you're ready to see the answers. Here are the answers. If you got both of these right, congratulations. I'd advise you to move on to the next video, which will be on power and social change. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you